Constituents, and I dare say all islanders, really identify health care as number one priority. It's a top priority. So government is spending a very large amount of money on health care, over $1 billion a year. That's billion with a B, Mr. Speaker. However, when it comes to governing and spending health care money on PEI, the opposition, especially the leader of the third party, likes to muddy the water with half-truths and political spin. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to get the facts on where those dollars are going right from the horse's mouth, not from the horse's rear end, so Islanders don't have to rely on a series of questionable Facebook posts to get their information. A question to the Minister of Health and Wellness. What is Health PEI's overall budget for 25-26, and what factors are driving this increase?
Minister of Health and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. I did anticipate some budget-related questions in this session for sure. So obviously the Health PEI budget's about $1.075 billion a year. About $100 million increase over last year. About 93% of that, actually, member, is frontline staff salaries, and we call them COLA, cost of living adjustments, in our negotiated agreement. So, you know, we always talk about the cost of health care. We continue to talk about it at the federal minister meetings. It's about 13% of GDP of Canada, if you can believe that. So again, but if I bring it back to Prince Edward Island, we have gone from 159,000 people to about 182,000, which is about 14%. So yes, we're seeing increased costs in out-of-province costs, supplies, more beds, more staff. So we've made some staffing improvements within Health PEI, so we'll continue to make those investments so Islanders can get the care they deserve. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Rustico Emerald.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's great to get some of those facts on the table. Now, Islanders are not just concerned about the amount of money being spent, but they want to make sure Islanders are getting value for the money and is being spent in the right places. And the Minister touched on that a little bit. But, Mr. Speaker, armchair quarterbacks like Paul McNeill at the Eastern Graphic claim there's been, quote, a massive increase in the number of managers and senior leadership with no quantifiable improvement in health delivery. And once again, Mr. Speaker, I want to get the facts. The Eastern Graphic has already printed one correction, and once again, the leader of the third party is involved. He seems to be quoted as a source of information, but it is unverified political opinion and anecdotal at best. Mr. Speaker, together they are like a talking horse, and the leader of the third party isn't the head. Question to the Minister of Health. How do you explain the growth in Health PEI's administrative costs, and what does it mean for the system overall?
Minister of Health and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Always great questions from the member from Rustico Emerald. So I'd like to address some of this. I know in the Eastern Graphic article they did use artificial intelligence, and again, to do some comparables. And I think, you know, again, I know you're a big proponent of those tools. I'm not sure we're there yet, but it doesn't give context. And I'll give you a few examples. For example, the recruitment team from the Department of Health moved over to Health PEI. It's almost 30 positions. We've seen some great improvements in there. When I did my focus on the frontline tour, the single biggest issue that I heard was workplace safety and retention. So again, we added 11 positions in our occupational health and safety department for violence prevention, safety, return to work programs. That's a good investment, I think. We also expanded our EMR team. We've put EMR in community mental health facilities and our long-term care facilities, so we have to support that transition. I think we have about 1,800 users now in our EMR. HR, there's another one. We did add HR. When you go from 5,900 employees to 7,000, you need to support them. And a good example is that $7 premium that we have in one of our collective agreements that is driving me crazy, is that we have to implement it. We need people to do that in HR and payroll. So again, these are investments that are required. So I'm not so sure it was an apple-to-apple comparison. If you break down, about 92% of our staffing costs are frontline workers, 7% are leadership and corporate supports, and 0.03% is our executives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Rustico Emerald.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, and thank you to the Minister for those explanations and some of the justifications for those increases. But to be clear, Mr. Speaker, Islanders are concerned about the people they see every day. Nurses, lab technicians, cleaners, nurse practitioners. They want to make sure our taxpayer dollars are going out to the front lines, as at the end of the day, It's these health professionals that make things work. So I want to press this point. Once again, we need some facts. In typical lawyer speak, the leader of the third party is oozing out baffling rhetoric that our health professional retention is getting worse because we aren't compensating them fairly. So a question to the Minister of Health. Is the budget for frontline staff also growing?
The Minister of Health and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I agree. It's good to talk about some of the stuff here in the House. One of the things I think we're proud of, and it took a long time, was our new QP Health agreement. It was about $7.7 million. It was 2 years coming. That was long, difficult road for those people. Some of their members referenced it in the media as historical. I think that was the right thing to do to support that QP group. We also have spent $7 million on the RN classification process that we've gone through. We went from about 80 PQs down to 8, which will allow better flexibility and quicker hiring within our system. We do know about our PSA, our Physician Services Agreement, which is about, again, our family physicians got a raise of about $94,000, which places them in the top 2 in the country for family physicians. We still struggle to hire them. But we are about $90,000 more. A family physician in New Brunswick makes $245,000. You make $320,000 to be a family physician.
Member for Rustico Emerald.
So, Mr. Speaker, now we've been talking about the regular budgeting process, operating capital budgets, but Islanders have noticed the use of special warrants. So this is outside the process. Extra allocations of funding. Last year, a $30 million special warrant was required. In this fiscal year, another $35 million was added. Now, these are huge sums, Mr. Speaker, and they raise questions about planning and sustainability. And we need facts, Mr. Speaker, especially in the face of the leader of the third party tabling bills in an effort to reduce government revenue while continuously crying for more spending. Mr. Speaker, why were these special warrants necessary, and what do they tell us about Health PEI's financial management?
The Minister of Health and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, the member from Charlottetown West Royalty has submitted some written questions on special warrants. So obviously travel nurse staffing is one of them. We all understand that. Some things we don't talk about is what travel agency nurses do for our system. They do prevent burnout. I do realize that. Another issue, especially at the PCH, where we have a significant amount of those nurses, is that they allow those nurses to leave our system to take the ECHO program, which is a critical care program. So I think we had 12 or 14 last year. So they maintain the unit while these nurses go and take these courses. They come back, and then they can be supported by those senior nurses when they return to the unit. So that's one of the other one. Out-of-province care. There's no doubt we're seeing our out-of-province care go up. It's a factor of the rates are going up that other provinces charge us. And again, with 14% more Islanders on the island, we will be sending more people for vascular care and cardiac care and neurosurgery. We will not do that on Prince Edward Island with 185,000 people. So thank you for the question.
The member for Rustico Emerald.
Mr. Speaker, it's great to get these facts on the table. And another area that my constituents are interested in are capital costs. We have the capital budget on the floor. And Islanders see new projects and upgrades, but they also see the price tags rising year after year. So with infrastructure investment shaping the future of care delivery, clarity is needed. Facts, Mr. Speaker, facts. We need them. The leader of the third party wants us to continue to neglect our capital infrastructure, just like the Liberals did, and insists we need to rely on the Liberal federal government to get things done. He didn't even support his own party's local federal Green candidate in the last election. A question to the Minister of Health. To the Minister. Why are Health PEI's capital costs increasing, and what priorities are driving these investments?
The Minister of Health and Wellness.
Thank you. Again, it kind of goes back to our population number. We need the facilities to support our population. We know that the KCMH needs replacement. There's no doubt. We know we have to build a new school in Georgetown, for example, too. So again, from a healthcare perspective, you're looking at the new KCMH. We continue to work on the mental health and addictions campus. We need community health centers. The medical school, which again, I can't wait to come back 10, 15 years from now to see those students coming out and contributing to our system. And I appreciate the questions today. Great lesson for our journalists that are in there. As we say, always verify before you amplify.
The member for Rustico Emerald.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for answering these important questions with real numbers, real facts, and hopefully the leader of the third party is listening. Islanders know that healthcare costs are rising across the country. We can't be the only province facing these pressures, and context matters. My constituents, they want to know how PEI stacks up against the rest of Canada, whether we're spending more or less, about the same. And these are taxpayer dollars that are being spent, Mr. Speaker, and it's important that we have the facts, because Islanders deserve to know what is really happening, not the leader of the third party's politically driven, half-truth, lawyer-speak version. Mr. Speaker, to the Minister, how does PEI's health spending compare nationally, and what does that tell us about the challenges we face here at home?
Minister of Health and Wellness.
That is a good question. I was kind of hoping that an accountant might run in District 2, so I wouldn't have to answer these questions all the time in the House, but obviously that didn't happen. So again, from a per capita spending, PEI is about 4.6%. That ranks us 8th in Canada. So we should be 3rd or 4th after Northwest Territories or Yukon or so on and so forth. Nova Scotia is 4.9, Newfoundland is 6.1, BC is 6.5, Manitoba is 5.9. So again, back to the rationale that we're overspending on health, I would disagree with that. You're looking at about $9,100 per person across Canada. We're about $9,400, but that still places us at 8th. If we talk about corporate services again, I talked about this at the AGM. It's called the Corporate Services Expense Ratio for our health authority. It's 4.3%. It's 4.4% nationally. So if you look at the Canadian information, CIHI data, it's right there. They can look it up themselves. The member can look it up themselves. We don't produce that data. I think it tells the story that we're right in where we should be, and maybe we should spend a little bit more for more care. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.